We may have just been provided information as to what's coming next, and it could very well be another pandemic. That is, if we don't follow what the World Health Organization is telling us. It also helps that they already have jabs readily available for the virus that's now coming. Now, while I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body, isn't it a little weird that a vaccine has been made well before a pandemic happens? Because if that's the case, then prior research would have been done on the virus beforehand to figure out something that can fit it, right? Students who are waiting on their debt to be forgiven are saying that they can't afford the cost of living unless their loans are paid for. And as for those who are living in California, are you ready to pay almost $1,000 for natural gas? And Elon Musk warns that a single world government would not help our world at all. Instead, he sees it as a backward step for humanity. Do you guys agree with him? Now, before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. Really need all the help I can get with this video's algorithm. Now, if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to the state of our economy, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, global happenings, SNAP and EBT, the housing market, the stock market, and everything that's going on in Washington, D.C. that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and also make sure your notification bell's turned on. And if you own a home, make sure that home is protected. Never be caught off guard by another very expensive, unexpected home repair again. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below of this video. So this is for sure to be a very, let's just say, polarizing topic, but let's talk about it anyway. Do you guys think that we should be worrying about the student loan forgiveness that was promised last year? Seriously, I mean, these people, they took out these loans. It wasn't you and me, but we continue to see them say that it's important that this be paid for. Well, many of us took out a car loan. Will anyone help us pay for that? How about your mortgage or your home loan? Should someone pay that off for you? I mean, we took out mortgages. Are we supposed to see assistance there? How about our credit cards? These are all debt that we took out without anybody else's approval but our own. Should they also help us in paying these off? That's how many people see it. We weren't there when they decided to get these loans, but now they're looking for this forgiveness as the key to financial stability, like none of us are working jobs just to make ends meet. And just think about this for a second. How is this massive debt supposedly going to be paid off? The government's broke. Don't expect them to pay for it. What's that? More taxes? That's right. We're going to pay for this using our tax money, so everyone gets to pay for everyone else's loan that gets forgiven. Isn't that unfair? I don't mean to offend anybody and piss anybody off, but it happens. But you took on the responsibility, not us, not the American people who worked tirelessly years ago just to pay off student loans. Will people who busted their rear end to pay off their student loans early get those checks back? Think about it that way. Now, I understand that we're all struggling. It's just hard to put our burden on other people. But what do you guys think? What makes it worse for me is that food insecurity is hitting senior citizens and the active military. Think about that for a second. It's also why food banks are seeing more people frequent their spots. There are also countless active duty military men and women who can't afford to feed their families, the same people who protect our freedoms. And yet, we still continue to send billions of taxpayers' dollars overseas, not a cent to our veterans, but billions for other countries. Now, of course, there's going to be comments saying that I don't care about global conflicts. On the contrary, I actually do care. That is why I read up on these things every single day. And honestly, if our economy was doing great, if the price of goods wasn't so inflated, if the Social Security increase for 2023 was enough, if more of our veterans could afford housing, if we weren't facing this uphill battle, then maybe it would feel all right. Maybe. But that's not the case, is it? I even saw an article that said that energy prices in California almost hit $1,000 for January alone. Now, I talked about this before on the channel, but SoCal Gas actually warned that residents should expect a higher bill for the start of the year due to the wholesale price of natural gas. But I wasn't expecting it to be eightfold. Now imagine paying 8 times what you used to pay for your gas bills. If you're used to paying $100 a month, all of a sudden it's $800 a month. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. Hearing stuff like this, it really deflates me. And it's scary just to think that households over in California, they're going through this right now. Not to mention that senior citizens and veterans are facing these challenges and more. It's really concerning that even more difficulties may be on the way. What difficulties, you might ask? Well, what about another deadly virus outbreak? This time, this one's called the Marburg virus. Now, before you comment saying anything, I agree. This is the last thing that we need right now. Now, if you guys check public records, it seems as if many of the organizations that are preparing for this virus is directly or indirectly connected to Dr. Anthony Fauci. So the regional director of Africa is saying this, quote, Marburg is highly infectious thanks to the rapid and decisive action by the Equatorial Guinea authorities in confirming the disease, emergency response can get to full steam quickly so that we can save lives and halt the virus as soon as possible, end quote. So he said this February of 2023, this month. It's also why the World Health Organization had an emergency meeting to discuss the virus as well as the vaccine. That's right, you guys. They already have one waiting on the sidelines, and it's called Marvac. Now, when it comes to vaccines, you're all free to do what you want. You're free to think what you want to think. You can get it or not get it. Really depends on your own personal preference. And shouldn't that be the case? Shouldn't we have the freedom to choose? It's also worth noting that the conclusion of the research that's gone into what should be the response to the Marburg virus is a coordinated response from the entire world. Now, on that note, billionaire Elon Musk made a great point.
One thing I should say, and I know this is called the World Government Summit, but I think we should be maybe a little bit concerned about actually becoming too much of a single world government. If I may say, that we want to avoid creating a civilizational risk by having, frankly, this may sound a little odd, too much cooperation between governments. If you look at, say, at history and the rise and fall of civilizations, that really all throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen, but it hasn't meant the doom of humanity as a whole, because there've been all these separate civilizations that were separated by great distances. And so, say like while Rome was falling, Islam was rising, and so you had like the sort of caliphate doing incredibly well while Rome was doing terribly. And that actually ended up being a source of preservation of knowledge and many scientific advancements. And so, I think we want to be a little bit cautious about being too much of a single civilization, because if we are too much of a single civilization, then if the whole thing may collapse. I'm obviously not suggesting war or anything like that, but I think we want to be a little bit wary of actually cooperating too much. It sounds a little odd, but we want to have some amount of civilizational diversity, such that if something does go wrong with some part of civilization, that the whole thing doesn't collapse, and humanity keeps moving forward.
Does that make sense? I guess if you think about it in the same way as a group like the World Economic Forum would take it, they want control. They want people to do things the way they see fit. And if the entire world was under just one rule, it would be vastly different from what we have now. So having a singular response that's set for the entire world when it comes to a virus or any other problem may not be good for the entire human race. And as always, you're always free to have your own perception and opinion on all the matters that we talk about. Just make sure you comment down below. Let me know what you think. We talked about it a lot, but it's hard to just end the video without at least offering some help to you guys. The economy is not where we want it to be, and many of us are scrambling to look for opportunities to make more money. But what if you had someone to show you the ropes, to guide you with budgeting, to help you formulate side hustles and small businesses, to develop multiple streams of income, to help you with wise investments in the stock market or real estate? To be clear, if you're interested in these topics, feel free to join us over in the Patreon community. There's a link in the description down below. The path to financial freedom is not easy, but it's also not impossible. Now, before I go, guys, please drop a thumbs up for the video. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you on the next video.